Well, I used to do a gag when I was a philosophy professor on the first day of class in freshman intro to philosophy. I would hand out a syllabus to the students and at the same time hand them a survey of philosophical questions. And then when they got done with the survey, I'd have the teacher's assistant gather the surveys and tally the answers. Well, unbeknownst to the students, I was really interested in only three of the answers they gave to only three of the questions, and they were all questions about whether or not they thought that morality was subjective and relative to persons and groups on the one hand, or whether morality there was an objective basis for morality, or whether there were objective moral principles to which we were all accountable or needed to respect. And invariably, when the teacher's assistant tallied the responses, year after year, about 85% of the students revealed that they were moral relativists, at least in their stated philosophy. You know, whatever's true for you is true for you, whatever's true for me is true for me, true or false. Well, in the moral realm, it was always the relativistic answer. Whatever's true for you is true for you, and whatever's true for me is true for me morally.
Oprah.
I have my morality, you have your morality. Don't impose your morality on me, etc. So it was very easy to get them to reveal their relativistic tendencies. And so as the teacher's assistant was tallying those answers, I was presenting the syllabus for the class. I'd get to the part about the grading. I'd explain that to get an A in the class, you needed to have so many points on tests and so many points on assignments. And 10% of the grade, I said, was assigned by their help to the professor. And then I would just go on to the next portion of the syllabus, very deadpan, and then little by little hands would start going up in the classroom. What's this stuff about the help to the assistance to the professor?
They want the A.
Yeah, what's the 10%? And I would just say very seriously, I would just say, well, you know, I live up the hill from the campus, and I've got young kids, and I'm just starting teaching, and I've just got so much work to do. And we have these pine trees on our property, and every fall they just rain needles on our yard, and I just cannot keep up with the raking the pine needles. So if anyone would come up to the house and give me a hand with that, I'd be just so grateful. And they'd look at me and say, well, oh, you mean this is like extra credit? And I say, well, no, it's not extra credit. It's but you know, you don't have to do it. But then they say, but wait, it's 10% of the grade. If I don't do this, I can't get an A. And then I'd say, oh, well, yeah, I suppose that's right, because you could only get a 90 and you need a 92. And so, okay, yeah, I guess that's right. They said, what? No way, that's lame. That's no way. And so then I'd get various forms of righteous indignation and moral indignation at this, and then they'd start to tell me that it was wrong. And I said, well, why do you say that it's wrong? And well, nobody else does it that way in a class. I said, that's your idea of what makes right and wrong, what everybody else does. So we'd get into the conversation. And then at a certain point, I would reveal their answers to the questions. They were revealing themselves in their reaction to be very dyed-in-the-wool moral objectivists. They believed that there were some things that were right and some things that were wrong. And in particular, my syllabus was completely wrong. And yet, when I got the TA to reveal their answers to the questions, in their stated philosophy, they were all moral relativists. And so then I would say, welcome to philosophy, and introduce the class and explain that the purpose of philosophy was to bring into a coherent synthesis one's stated philosophy and one's actions. That was part of the purpose of philosophy. And because the gag was so fun, I'd usually get 5 or 6 students signing up the next day. You know, they're thinking the whole class would be involved with the professor pulling stunts like that. But anyway, it was a way of illustrating that whatever we say, we in our actions reveal a commitment to certain objective moral principles. In no society is selfishness actually respected. You cannot get anyone to affirm the proposition, it's a good thing to kick old ladies in the shins for pleasure. Okay, there might be some situation in which there's an old lady who's about to kill the president with a gun or something, and then it would be okay to kick her in the shins, but not just for pleasure. Okay, so you can, in ethical philosophy, you can construct these examples that show that we do have a deep-seated commitment to certain objective moral principles, and that's universal across cultures. And yet we have lots of people today saying that there is no such thing, but their actions betray their stated relativistic philosophy. And so that was one of the little gags I used to do in class.